Carnivore Diet Benefits. I'm going to go over my top 3. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name's Bruno Punucci. I hope you're doing well. Anyway, onto the topic at hand. There's a lot of benefits when people start a carnivore diet, and a lot of different people, depending on what their major problems are, will have different successes in different orders. So I'd appreciate it if you could give it a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification, and when you do, make sure you're getting all notifications. I notice a lot of people have been telling me the last little while that they've only been getting some of my notifications or none at all. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. I noticed certain successes whenever I went on and off a zero carb way of eating. So I'm talking a strict carnivore diet without any plants or fruit or seeds of any kind in there. No sauces, nothing, just meat and water and salt. These are the benefits I typically get within a few days. Now, some of these benefits come traditionally with me. They come within a couple weeks. Often within the first month, I notice a big difference with lots of different health benefits. Everything going from my blood pressure to my heart rate, all the way to some of the benefits I notice in the first few days. And one of the first things I notice before my energy gets better is my joints feel good. It's traditionally been a 4-day process for me. Anyone out there with stiff joints can appreciate this, and please leave a comment if you've noticed this. Day 1, whenever I did a zero carb diet, because like I said, I went on and off of this way of eating multiple times before I became strict with it and learned I was an abstainer, not a moderator. Moderator is someone who can just have a little bite or taste of whatever they want off a carnivore diet, and it doesn't seem to affect them too much. Someone like me, I do that, and it's like I fell off the wagon. I'm like an alcoholic who had a drink, and next thing you know, I'm having drinks all the time. Same thing when it comes to carbohydrates of whatever kind. So I stay away from it. When I do that, I noticed the first day, my ankles would be a little more burny by the end of the day. And I noticed there was more stiffness. And by the end of day 2 and 3, it would get progressively worse. If I sat down for any window of time, it would get worse and worse. Now, I noticed that since my mid-late 30s. And here's the crazy thing. The first time I ever did this, it was the most extreme. And probably because I never experienced this before. Day 4 came and it was like the humidity broke after a storm. I couldn't believe it. I woke up after like the night before where my ankles and my knees, but mainly my ankles were burning. I was like, why did it feel this bad? And I had no idea what it was. It was arthritis. It wasn't just a big guy thing. When I woke up on Thursday morning, I got out of bed, walked towards the bathroom, and started walking down the stairs afterwards. And I just started going down the stairs. And I stopped partway through and I thought, what did I just do? I was so surprised. Lots of people notice this within the first week, typically day 4. Day 4 is when people notice the break with the arthritis. This is how I would normally get out of bed before. I would get up and I would stand and have to kind of go like straighten up, and then I would stumble to the bathroom, or I'd shuffle more so than stumble to the bathroom and then shuffle down the stairs. Now, I was at the highest 465 pounds. So when I would start walking down these stairs, I would have a hand on the railing with a lot of my weight and a hand on the wall. And the first few steps, I'd have to do one step at a time. And here I was, day 4 of this zero carb way of eating. And I started walking down the stairs, no problem. No problem. I felt like I was years younger. I felt so good. And I realized it wasn't a big guy thing. It was an inflammation thing, because I'd only lost a few pounds in that first few days, mainly water weight, probably about 10, 12 pounds. Being at that size, you have proportionately more to lose. That's one of the first benefits I think most anyone gets who's in their 30s, 40s, or higher when they start a carnivore diet is that. I would say the benefit I've had that is most important to me on a carnivore diet. So the last one was the first thing I noticed. This is by far the most important, is I am not restricted by food anymore. And you're thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute. You have a really restrictive diet. How can you not feel restricted by food? Because when I was having carbohydrates and I was giving into any craving I wanted, any craving I had, any thought of food, if I didn't give into it immediately, I would give into it within a day or two. So if I wanted pizza and I was like, okay, I already have food taken out, I already have plans tonight for dinner, I'm gonna have pizza tomorrow for lunch, or by the end of the day at the latest. And every day was a different food. If it was ice cream one day or pizza the next, or cake or whatever it was, Chinese food, Indian food, you name it, I would give into all these cravings. And by the way, that's pretty expensive. So I notice I don't have that craving for food and carbohydrates anymore. So when I have cravings, it's maybe maybe something like bacon, because who doesn't like bacon, whether you're on a carnivore diet or not? So having the food freedom means I'm not obsessing over food anymore. I'm not always thinking about my next meal. And it's a wonderful place to be, because that's partly what got me up to being a 465-pound guy. I've lost a lot of weight and I'm continuing to lose this weight, so I'm going in a positive direction. And that's one of the benefits you'll notice if you adopt this carnivore way of eating. I would say the next benefit after that is I feel younger. My energy is more balanced. So right off the bat, just having more balanced energy makes you feel younger. I don't have highs and lows through the day because my blood sugar is stable all through the day. Now, I was technically never diabetic. I was at best pre-diabetic, even at my heaviest weight. My blood sugar was always high-end normal. So my doctors, surprisingly, weren't too worried about that. Obviously, my fasting insulin was crazy, but between my joints feeling better and my energy being better, I don't have the highs and lows after each meal or even just throughout the day. I have better energy overall through the day. I don't get tired early at night, typically, unless I was really active. I mean, you're still going to find your limits, even on a carnivore diet, but I have longer bouts of energy now. I feel so much better throughout the day on so many different levels that I honestly feel like I'm back in my 20s. And that's weird to say because I'm 80 to 100 pounds heavier than I was in my 20s, but I still feel that good. Not only in those other health conditions I've been talking about, but in my blood work. So my blood profile and my medical numbers are looking better and better every time I see a doctor. And I wasn't really going to throw a fourth point in there, but I'm going to anyway. I was going to make this a top 3 list. But the fourth point I want to make is the simplicity of a carnivore diet. It's so nice. You can go long windows of time without eating. So if you're at a social gathering and there's a bunch of food there you can't have, it's typically not an issue unless for some reason you went there really famished. So you can go windows of time and you go, well, I'll just skip this meal. It's no big deal. You know, you can eat afterwards. You don't mind if you go an extra couple hours. You often do batch cooking when you're doing carnivore, and you're typically just cooking one type of food at a time. Now, it can be a little more complicated if you have children. You always got to make sure there's food for everyone else, but all you're doing is making sure that you have a meat-based dinner or lunch available for everyone whenever you cook a meal. And that way it's not really any extra work because you have to cook that food for them anyway. And it's not a bad idea to make sure everyone gets their protein and fat along with the rest of their food that they're getting, so they can fill up on the healthy stuff and then have a little bit of that other stuff to accent their meals. So with you, it's just going to be simple. You can have just that one dish for that one meal, and it just makes life less complicated. It's one less thing you have to think about when it comes to your next meal, the frequency of meals, as well as how often you have to cook, so your kitchen stays cleaner. So your whole load lightens up when you're on a carnivore diet. So these are just a few of the benefits I've noticed on a carnivore diet. I'm sure you have a few that have stood out for you. Please let me know. It'll really help build other people up in the comments section below. So please leave a comment, and maybe other people might notice those same benefits that you've gone through. Some of these benefits might be obscure benefits. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching the video. Take care.